you have been anything but satisfied with some of the explanations as to where our investments went awry with Merrill Lynch. I think that the problem has been somewhat ameliorated by Merrill Lynch's unexpected quick turn to reimburse the city and try to make the city whole on this botched investment. But what lingers is why and how this happened, and it seems that your feeling of the culpability in ties between members of the control board and Merrill Lynch is making you increasingly uncomfortable.
You put it about as better than I can put it, but
no, I'm just leading you into the ring, buddy.
He read what I wrote.
And I apologize, I didn't say good morning to Bo or Bayback as well. So good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning, Senator.
The more you look at this, and the closer you get to it, the more it stinks.
Oh boy!
And we have not ever been told the truth about what happened, how this deal ever culminated, how it began in the first place. And what we do know is that the executive director had a friendship with somebody out of Albany, New York, at a Merrill Lynch's office. And the moment he got his hands on the cash register, called his buddy up and said, here's a good deal, I think, for you. And he thought at the time, good for the city. But this was going to be putting money into a friend's pocket. This bid, and all it seems by everything that we have seen so far and all the facts that have been disclosed, was rigged right from the beginning. If you take a look at the Bill Galvin report, the emails at midnight giving Carl Kipper information from Steve Lisauskas, the executive director.
Carl Kipper being the
person
Merrill Lynch?
The designee from Merrill Lynch who was friends with Stephen Lisauskas for a long time, who he brought in. They had an informal meeting, then they had a formal meeting. And after the formal meeting, when there was 4 people in the room, while these gentlemen were driving back to Albany, somehow they got a phone call right after that meeting saying, congratulations, you've been awarded a $50 million contract with the city of Springfield. And what's disturbing to me is that no one has decided to say, what was that relationship about? And what did that entail? Was there something wrong about this? This is corruption at its worst. We have a deal that would have never been disclosed or ever seen in the light of day if it didn't go bad, but it did go bad, and the citizens almost lost $13 million. Now, the good news is that we got the $13 million back, but I'll tell you that I don't have any faith in what's going on with the executive director or the control board. Chris Gabrieli and this control board has not looked at this issue. And to me, it's a lack of leadership. Every time I've talked to Chris Gabrieli, he doesn't think that this is a big deal. And I think this is a huge deal, and it needs some answers.
So where does the investigation into what happened stand?
Well, I don't think they're looking at it. You have the Attorney General's office, whose real job was to look at getting the $13 million back, which they have. You have the Secretary of State's office, and I had a lengthy conversation with Bill Galvin. You go talk to Bill Galvin and you ask him what he thinks about this. Every person I've talked to about this whole incident is appalled by it and can't believe that the executive director is still sitting over there running the city, and that's what he is doing right now. He runs the day-to-day operations of the city. But the Secretary of State is looking at Merrill Lynch, and he'll tell you, his slant on it is that, you know how bad this is? It's so bad that Merrill Lynch has a bunch of these deals out across the country, and they ponied up in the Springfield issue so fast, that tells you how bad it was. Not just because they cooked the books after getting the money, but they knew they had dirty hands from the moment they got the deal, which was on faulty grounds. So the red flag should be going up even more that we got our money back so fast.
You know, what about oversight in all of this? I mean, surely all this is public record, the city's investments, there are books that are kept. Who's in charge of all that? Who gets it? Who can scrutinize this sort of move? And why haven't they?
Do you want me to answer that?
Well, if you don't, it's rhetorical.
No, I'll give you the answer. Sal Calvanese, who's the treasurer, is the one who's supposed to oversee all the investments of the city. But I will bet you that when you get 4 people in a room, especially the executive director, who is the boss of everybody, well, guess where the direction of his things are going to go? The executive director is going to have his say about where things go, and he's got the loudest voice in the room, and they're going to pretty much do what they're told. And I think in this case, they were told to work with Merrill Lynch and do what they were supposed to do.
Steve, you keep saying 4 people in the room. Do you know who the 4 people were?
Yeah, Mark Iannello, who is the auditor, Sal Calvanese, who's the treasurer, Stephen Lisauskas, the executive director, and Mary Zambazakis, who is the chief financial officer, who is somehow left the city. She left the city just a few months ago.
Any connection there you're suggesting, Senator?
Well, I don't know. I think those questions should be asked because Mary Zambazakis oversaw Sal Calvini. She was the chief financial officer. She should be the last person to look at everything that was going through on the financial books of the city, and this somehow was either missed or ignored.
Should there be an investigation of A, the control board, B, Lisauskas, and C, the other three people in the room?
In my opinion, the way this is a simple process, and we've been fighting about this for the last 3 or 4 months, and why it's so simple to me, and they keep making it complicated and dragging it out, tells me that the truth is going to hurt here, and they're trying to avoid getting to the truth. You simply bring all 4 of those individuals in, and you require them to divulge to you what happened, how the whole transaction took place, and you take those 4 interviews. And based upon those 4 interviews, I'm sure you would have a very clear idea on how this deal happened. And then you can handle things from there. You can do this all internally. You can do it privately. But they're hiding behind different things right now or ignoring it. And what they're really doing mostly that's appalling is just ignoring how this all started.
I've asked you this question last time we talked to you, but do you need to do those interviews under oath?
Well, I think I mentioned to you.
Being the former assistant DA that you were.
I know that. Well, the first step is you ask somebody to come in, and if they are not divulging everything to you, or they refuse to answer certain questions, then the next step is to bring them in under oath and see what they have to say. And if they don't want to give you that, turn it over to the U.S. Attorney's Office or someone else who wants to look into the potential criminal conduct here, because bid rigging, in my opinion, is criminal conduct. That's corruption, and we should look at that.
Especially when it's $50 million. Should the executive director of the control board lose his job?
Well, I don't believe in rushing to judgment on anybody, but I do believe in asking the direct questions. And I think the control board, Chris Gabrieli, should be asking the direct questions and getting those answers and divulging that information to the public. And if that is damaging information, then Steve Lisauskas should be fired. If it is not damaging information, then that should be divulged to the public and we should know. But I'll tell you, the more we don't know about it and the more they refuse to say anything, and the longer this goes on, the stinkier it gets.
You keep saying the more we don't know about it and they don't say it. They meaning the control board and Chris Gabrieli in particular?
Well, Chris Gabrieli just does not seem, in all my conversations with him, does not seem interested in getting to the root of the matter and finding out how this all started. And they're obligated to do that as the control board. That is their job. And so there's 2 people in play here. There's Chris Gabrieli and there's Steve Lisauskas, and both of them should be held accountable.
Well, they've got bosses, too. I mean, what is it, Leslie Kerwin, the A&F chair, or director out there, secretary for the governor, should she be brought into this?
I don't think so yet, because Chris Gabrieli treats the control board as what's called a quasi-public agency. In the political world, that is people that are free of any political influence or control, and that he considers himself the ruler of the control board, that he decides what goes on the control board. And so, first and foremost, we should be looking at Steve Lisauskas, and we should be looking at Chris Gabrieli, because he continues to say that he is the one, not at the whim of the governor's office or the secretary in A&F. He is the one who's managing the control board, so we should hold him accountable to that.
Now, I got an interesting email, and I told you this before, from a firm in Boston, a highly popular public relations firm out in Boston, very interested in our conversations that we had with you before and that our newsroom had with you before. Why is a public relations firm who in a later email to me said they were interested in doing some background and some research for Merrill Lynch, why would they be sending me stuff trying to find out what you said about Merrill Lynch?